Well, for all of you watching on YouTube, make sure that you drop your thoughts in the comment section so that you also can join in on the conversation as we get into Thomas Frank's sacking. Aaron, it's not really a surprise that we woke up to this news. Does it feel like maybe, though, it should have been done a little bit earlier?
It feels like Spurs were trying to let this situation play out, to let Thomas Frank turn this around, see if he could get the players on his side, see if he could maybe play a little more attacking brand. You don't want to fire a manager. It costs a lot of money. You have to start the whole process over again. So to me, it felt like Spurs were trying to let this go to as long as possible to see if they could work it out, and then they felt like their hand was forced.
Yeah. I was actually shocked. When I woke up this morning, I was shocked. I'm shocked in the sense that it's a bit like the Ruben Amorim one. You bring your manager in to change culturally everything now. Obviously, Daniel Levy leaves, you have turnover at the top, and you're told that it's going to be this whole new thing, this whole new project. My concern is Thomas Frank's a good manager, but obviously clearly didn't work here. You can say he probably deserved to be sacked. If you just looked at performances, league position alone, let's just keep that. Thomas Frank probably deserved to be sacked. Well, now let's look at Spurs as a whole, as an entity. What are they? I've been saying this for about 2 years. What are they? What are they trying to be? Last season they were, 15th, 16th in the Premier League? Obviously they win
17th, I think.
17th and
17th.
17th. And then they win, obviously, the European competition, which gives them a bit of a pass. But you sack the manager that wins you the trophy, because Spurs are known for not winning trophies. Then it was too attacking. Now you go more pragmatic in your approach, and you sack the manager because it's not attacking enough. It's like, well, what are you trying to do? And then from a player's point of view, obviously I've been there when it changes. But what I get frustrated with the Spurs players is, and they probably won't be happy with what I'm about to say, but I don't really care anyway. It's never their fault. You never hear, like last year, it was the injuries and the manager was too gung-ho. This time you just seen it there, Jed Spence and Mickey van der Ven when they walked past the manager when he's saying, go and clap the fans. The Spurs players, in my opinion, never come under any real scrutiny as to why their performances are so poor. By the way, with this all being said, they made it into the top 8 of the Champions League. Mm-hmm. So I would be asking the question, if I was owner, why in the league are we 16th and we're so poor, but why in the Champions League can we turn up? Is that not a mentality issue, that you can turn up for the so-called big games, the ones that put you in the spotlight? And as an owner, I'd be questioning a lot of these players now. And you know, your captain in Romero got sent off again. Who? If I ask you a question now, if I asked it to everybody, who's the player now that the next manager, whoever the next manager is, can build that team around? Who can rely on?
And not only that, I don't think they have a strong leadership group.
100%.
No. Right?
100%.
That's a problem, I think, within their players, but that's also a problem from the board. Who's signing these players? They hire a sporting director. The sporting director leaves.
Yep.
They have Daniel Levy. They have a new CEO. They like all of these people, the club are changing, and it just feels like the foresight is poor. Mm-hmm. You have a manager that plays exciting football, Mauricio Pochettino. You fire him, then you hire Mourinho. Mourinho very defensive. From defensive, you go to Conte. Conte still defensive. Fans are moaning and groaning. Then you follow Ange Postecoglou, the complete opposite side of the spectrum, attacking football. First 6 months, got it right, and then it just kind of fell apart because it felt unsustainable. And then you go back to somebody else who doesn't play pretty football. So where's the consistency in your hires and what you want to get out of the team, in your model of signing players, of hiring managers? It kind of feels like it's a lot that's decided on the fly, and thus all of these problems arise, and you're having to solve them on the fly, and it just feels like it's an endless cycle.
To your point, if you go through the signings, Mickey van der Ven, Romero, and I'll give Conor Gallagher and Paulinho like passes as they're new. Who really is the signing that you go, wow?
Maddison, Maybe. Madison, I think.
What was that, 4-5 years ago now?
Yeah, I mean, I think he exceeded expectations, unfortunately, with the injuries, right? I think he was like the massive, the one that was like the biggest upside that you said, all right, wow, we can build our team around him. Like, he is.
To be fair, he's been injured so long, I've actually forgot about Mad, so I apologise for that. But in general, a lot of their signings are, okay.
Yeah.
If you take Romero, you take Van der Ven, I'd say Conor Gallagher. Who else in that team now goes and gets into the rest of the big teams? Arsenal wouldn't take one player, I don't think. Would you? Van der Ven, maybe? But he wouldn't be a starter.
He wouldn't be a starter.
And that's their best player. A Man City, possibly Van der Ven.
I might take Xabi Simons maybe as a rotation option, but he wouldn't be a starter again.
He's a rotation piece for you guys, and for them, he's the guy who's meant to lead it and take it forward. Does that make sense? Like you need, they don't have the foundation to build off, and I think that's what Thomas Frank was trying to do. The players and the system in terms of what keeps happening is, oh, it's the manager's fault, change the manager. Oh, it's Daniel Levy's fault. Now you've removed those. You've only got one consistent that you're allowed to question now, which is the players. And they never seem to come under any real question. Vicario as a goalkeeper, for me, is average at best. He makes so many mistakes. Doesn't give you confidence.
And concedes a lot.
Concedes a lot of goals. When you start looking through, look, this is since November 1st. When you start looking through this, goals scored 19, 30 allowed. XG difference of -9. So that says they don't have a lot of quality in the final third, missing big chances, but then also they're conceding nearly double the amount that I get frustrated when people go, oh, it's the manager. Yes, I've played under a lot of managers. Managers are frustrating. But as players, once you're on the pitch, you can take ownership. You can say, hey, for the next 10 minutes, we're going to stay in a block. Or for the next 10 minutes, we're going for it. Now it just becomes this whole thing where players are never accountable because manager's fault.
Yeah. Players in this club feel enabled at Tottenham to make those excuses, though, because from the top, there's such confusion. There is no sporting philosophy at Spurs. We just talked about who are Spurs. Do they want to be a club that signs young players, develops and then sells them and gets to Europe every year because they have young, exciting players? Do they want to sign older players who are established and kind of push on that way? Do they want to be a defensive side? Do they want to be a counter-attacking side? Do they want to be an attacking side? And it's so scattershot every single season. We see players come in that fit something. Conor Gallagher fits something. Xabi Simons fits something, but it's a nebulous something. What is the something that Spurs want to be? And every single manager changes, flip-flops back and forth.
You know the sad part about it all? You go back to like Mauricio Pochettino, Harry Redknapp. These teams, yes, while they weren't winning things, they were exciting. There were things you could get behind as a neutral and go,
you had to watch Spurs. Every weekend, Spurs was on your list. Oh, this is a game that I want to watch. You know what's very telling? They changed over from Ange to Thomas Frank, and it hasn't gotten better. If you told me it improved after Ange, all right, Ange was clearly the problem. But a lot of these same players, and they're a relegation candidate. I'm not saying they're getting relegated, but they're a relegation candidate, and you can't argue otherwise, right? So you go from this longing for Mauricio Pochettino from the good old days, right? Which are like, that's the most recent example of when Spurs were at their height. And
Champions League final.
Right. You can't really, you haven't been able to build towards that, and especially there was also no vision past Harry Kane and Son. You lose these two pillars.
I'll even go further. Moussa Dembele, they have not replaced him. If you ask any Premier League player about who are some of the best players they've ever faced against, Moussa Dembele will inevitably continue to come up on that list. And Moussa Dembele, for me, is such an epitome of what Spurs was for a long time. Incredible player. They didn't win a lot of trophies, but every single time every single time Arsenal came up against Moussa Dembele, I would sit there and be like, this guy is trouble. Spurs were trouble for a long time. They didn't necessarily win the trophies, but they were competing. They were competing for top 5, top 4. What are they now? Perfectly bought Moussa Dembele, obviously played against him. So when I think back to the teams I played against, you're talking Harry Kane, Son, Dele Alli,
Lucas Moura, Dembele, Sissoko, Kieran Trippier, Danny Rose.
Quality.
Unveiled and Vertonghen. Hugo Lloris.
And then Hugo Lloris.
Yeah,
when you look at that team now, and you put that team up against this team, it's night and day.
Yeah.
It's night and day, but you used to have to look at it and go, right, defensively they're strong.
Yeah.
In midfield, it's going to be tough to try and break them down. We have to be at our best. When they give Harry Kane chances, you can't be too aggressive in your press because they kill you with pacing behind. Yeah. They had a mixture of everything, and then over years, it slowly decayed, little bit by little bit, little bit by little bit. But if you actually look at the spend, they spend money. Yeah. That's why I could say, you've got it wrong for so long. How are you now in this position? And I just want it clear, I think Spurs is a fantastic football institute. When I grew up watching Darren Anderson, Teddy Sheringham, Jurgen Klinsmann, these types of teams.
Oscar Dealers back in the day when you were a little kid.
A lot. That's more Jeff's age. But, Spurs was always synonymous with me with attacking brand of football that you wanted to watch. It was entertaining. Like them, not Newcastle, they were entertaining. Now, when you look at it, that's why I keep posing the question, who are Spurs? What are they trying to be? What as a neutral now, am I looking at? If I was a Spurs fan, I'd be so frustrated and bewildered at this moment in time as to what we are. Yes, we got a nice stadium. Yes, we got a nice training ground. But what do we stand for? What do we mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of fans turn so quickly because of that. Especially the older generation that have seen great Spurs teams play attractive football. And it's funny because going back to that era of the team that you just mentioned, I think back then we were criticizing, oh, yeah, they're so good, but where's the trophy, right? So it's like, it's always greener on the other side, but the green isn't that green right now, right? So
at least the grass still tasted good.
They turn very quickly because the team's just so much moaning and groaning. The team is so unattractive to watch.
You do say a little bit why you are shocked here, Troy. Lots of people saying that this is a Russian rash decision. People saying that talking about the players that they have at Tottenham is not the quality that they need. Talking about how the problem is from, this entire system. So looking ahead for this Tottenham side, is there a manager that you have in mind that you think could step up to this challenge? Because as we've been talking about, you have to be able to work with the system that Tottenham has in place right now.
There is one that jump to mind, but they're all ex-Arsenal players, so they don't really. I don't think that would ever work. But it does. John Heitinga would be a no for me.
No, John Heitinga failed at Ajax. Bad.
This season, but he went in to help. So for me, that's a definite no. I think Zerbi obviously just left. Marseille, I think that's a crazy one as well, just for his character type.
Especially with how much he demands from the board. He's
very volatile.
That's not what you look at what happened with Conte, the flaming out of Conte at Spurs. Do you want another iteration of that?
You can't have a manager who demands too much because he'll get frustrated.
No, the manager that I think they should hire now is not on this list. Ooh. His name is interim manager, and then in the summer you figure out who you hire from this list.
Interim manager's name is on this list. It's Ryan Mason.
That's always I actually think, you know what? The one I would love to see get it is Robbie Keane. He's doing a fantastic job out in Greece, no?
Hungary.
Hungary, apologies. He's doing a fantastic job out there. I think also from a personal point of view, I'd love to see Marco Silva get a job like this, but I think when you've just had the hire of Thomas Frank from a similar club, would you go down that route? But if you want to have a full change and shift in attacking focus, Oliver Glasner's interesting.
Yeah.
Especially at the end of the season now that you say go into him, get to the end of the season, and then have an Oliver Glasner. They have a lot of pieces. It just needs somebody to try and pull it together. But my I don't know who this person is. Maybe it's a Diego Simeone type, somebody that you have to trust, you give the whole building to. And that's where I think it's a worry.
Robbie Keane, in that sense, understands what Spurs is.
Yep.
And when we just spoke about this team being devoid of leadership, your captain is getting red cards here and there, being suspended, talking out against the board. Romero is a leader in certain aspects, but in certain aspects he can also be a detriment. So I think you need a couple of people in that dressing room, including the manager, that will fight for Spurs.
Yeah.
That will really respect this emblem going forward. And I do think Keane is one of those guys. But again, it's like, are you going to go get somebody from the Hungarian top flight? Like, he's been doing really, really well with Ferencváros. How does that translate into the Premier
Before we
League?
even talk about a manager, you got to go up. Sporting director. What is their sporting direction? Even if you hire a manager and you can't supply him with the sorts of players that he needs, that the club needs overall, a really, really difficult job for a sporting director to be able to sign players that the current manager wants, but also can survive that manager if this manager doesn't work out. And Spurs sporting director has been really good.
Do you know what I think Spurs need to do? And they're going to hate this part. I understand. I already know social media are going to clip this and put it out. They need to take a little leaf out of Arsenal sports. And what I mean
this
by
is
that,
Thomas Frank's part. You keep mentioning
but watch what I said. Watch what I mean by this. And Man City to this. They need to make a clear decision now with one or two bigger of their leaders, whether it be a Romero, let's just use him as an example. You said he spoke out against the board, but he's clearly one of their best players. Where they go, you're gone. You're out, you sell him.
Aubameyang type decision?
Yeah. A Aguero type decision, a Joe Hart type decision, where you go, you don't fit to what we want. We're going to have to move on to set a precedent for everybody else.
The thing is that I don't know what they want.
No, I agree,
Right,
but they need to make that decision,
first
though,
and
Nico.
foremost.
Yeah, just to regain some power back as a club, as an ownership, because at the moment, as again, not to make this about Romero, because I actually think he's a very good football player, but he's your captain, he's your leader. Start of the season, he said he wanted to go to Atletico Madrid. That didn't play out. He then spoke out about the board.
Yeah.
He's now being sent off more than normal. You have to make a decision because that's your leader. That's your point of reference between pitch and stadium. And so the rest of the fan base look to their captain to say, how do we get through this? And I just worry. I really do worry. I don't think they're going to get relegated. I think they have enough quality within there. And normally you get that new manager bounce. We're seeing that with Carrick. We're seeing it everywhere. But I do worry if they don't have some form of direction. When you start trending towards the bottom of the league, there's only one thing that happens. You get relegated eventually. Look at Wolves. I know Spurs and Wolves are in completely different classes, but Wolves have been down there for 4, 5, 6 years. Now they're getting relegated. I do worry. 39 points to stay up.
I mean, how much do you worry?
How do they get to there?
The state that they're in right now, nearly being relegated, they're very close to it. How much does that affect the type of manager that they're able to get, the name that they're able to get?
I think if you stay safe.
Yeah. Look, do you know what will probably happen that's not on there? I've just thought about it. They'll go get a Harry Redknapp. They'll go ask Harry Redknapp to come back, similar to what Celtic have done at Martin O'Neill. Somebody that's been there, had a good time there. He's beloved by fans.
For right now.
For right now, interim.
Yeah.
Just to the end of the season. Someone like Harry Redknapp way, he comes in, he makes everyone feel good. Very basic in terms of what they need to do and deliver. It just makes people feel good again. But it's sad that we're even having this conversation about England, one of England's top 6 teams. It's frightening that this is the conversation.
Well, same energy. There's a certain former Spurs manager that becomes available in the summer after the World Cup.
Poch?
Yeah.
You know, like there's
Would he go back?
Can they hold? I think he would. The way he's talking.
I think there's this incredible love story between Spurs and Poch, and the other way around, Poch with Spurs as well.
And it feels like the story's not over, right? It feels like there's
he was so close to glory.
That apple, yeah.
So close to glory. Had Spurs playing at their best that we've ever seen them in the last, 20, 30 years?
Let's go to let's play your Poch, right? I'll give you your Pochettino.
Yeah.
You look at the team you had when you left,
right?
And you look at this team now. Do you look at that and go, I can make that team better than what I had before, or not?
I think I have enough authority as a figure within Spurs to go into that club and say, this is what's going to happen. And given all the sporting direction issues that they have, be strong enough to demand certain players, to demand certain profile of where I want to go with the club. I don't think there's that many people that can stamp their authority. I think the theme of this conversation becomes, who's leading Spurs?
Right.
Is it the players?
Yeah.
Is it the manager? Is it the sporting direction? And everybody has their knock because the players want to lead, but they can't. They're not.
Yeah.
They don't really have that type of figure that pushes them forward. The manager clearly has lost his authority enough that getting sacked in the sporting direction has no idea
I've
what
just
they're
thought
doing.
of a great part to it, though. So Ange Postecoglou played at an aggressive, high-tempoed style of football. Most injuries they've ever had. Mm-hmm. What does Pochettino do? High press, get after them. So this player profile that they already have actually can't do it. So you need to get rid of 3/4 of this team just to get the profile of player that can deliver the performances that Pochettino wants you to do. So I think it's interesting. I tried to ask, I think it's a little bit late, but I don't know if you've been able to get any of the signings. I just don't know what Spurs are. Again, it's very, I don't want to sound repetitive, but I just don't know what they are.
I think what you post is interesting.
Yeah.
Poch has more balance than Ange Postecoglou.
Of course. He is like 100 miles an hour. He's right on the limiter, isn't he, in where he's going.
Poch has the personality and the tactical nous to be able to lead this Spurs team if they would give him the keys to the castle.
I think they would.
You said he's one of the few. He is. I don't know if there are more than 3 people who would take this job, who have the cachet, who have the experience with this Spurs team and the supporters to come in and say, this is what we're doing.
Let me pose a question to you. Again, American viewers, don't attack me. It's just a situation. They don't get through. They don't make it through the qualifying rounds. They finish bottom of the group. Still the same?
Of what?
Of the World Cup.
The
USA.
US.
Do you think
Sorry.
his reputation
So let me
takes a
rephrase.
hit?
Yes.
USA did that. He hasn't got them out of there. Is he still in that cachet? Then you start to look back and go, well, hold on. PSG didn't work out well. USA
I don't
hasn't
think
worked
the
out well.
national team affects his standing with Spurs or with club football, really, unless it's a complete disaster.
I think Poch needs to put
not
in
getting through the qualifiers is not
How they do it, even I think that people will still be like, it's America.
at Spurs.
It's the United
At
States.
Spurs. Frankly, I think there's a certain truth to that. It's like, oh, well, look at the squad that he had and blah, blah, blah. At Spurs, Poch will only lose his clout if he puts an Arsenal jersey on. That's I feel like he's so well respected at the club.
You know, the more you think about it, it's such a bad look.
It's a terrible. Even if they gave it to him, he had to see it.
No, it's the fault of whoever made the coffee. But regardless, there are a few people that go in there and command the respect, and in a pecking order, in a hierarchy, there's an established company hierarchy within Spurs. But then there's an established authority hierarchy, like an alpha. Who's the alpha?
Poch jumps to the top of that as soon as he walks through.
There are few, if not he's the only guy that walks into that club.
I agree to all that, but Claudia, the big point to all of this is nobody knows.
Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.